Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Yes, this is, of course, Ask Rob and Rob, because it's Tuesday, therefore it's Ask Rob and Rob Day. And what does that mean? Well, it means you ask a question and we answer it. It really is that simple. We've got a question this week from someone we met in person quite recently. That question coming up in a sec, just after Rob tells us how you can ask a question of your own.
You can do it one of two ways. You can go to our website, thepropertyhub.net/podcast, or if you're on your mobile now, pick up your phone, give us a call on 013 808 00035. That's 013 808 00035. Normal rates apply. You'll get an answer phone message we won't personally answer, but we will listen. And if it's a good question, we will play it, just like we're going to do for Charles. Although summer may be coming to an end, but Charles is already thinking about snow.
Hi, my name is Charles Moe. Firstly, I just want to say a great thank you to the two Robs for a fantastic property podcast. It literally been an inspiration to me, and it's been my calling and renewed purpose to finally find something tangible to build a business. I just come back from a property summit last weekend. A great format. Came away from there with some really good ideas going forward on how to make my property business take off. I want to ask you a question about the snowball effect. It's been mentioned a few times, I believe, from some of the previous podcasts. I believe I should know what that is, but I would appreciate if you could explain that to on one of your Ask podcasts, exactly how that works in reality. I just feel that I have some idea, but I'm not sure. I know it basically means your portfolio gets to a certain size that it feeds on itself and exponentially grows. But in reality, how does that work? That would be a great look forward to an answer on that one. Thanks.
Thank you, Charles. Good question. What is the snowball effect? We've both referenced it in the past, but probably haven't gone into detail to say exactly what it is. We'll give you 2 points of view, but both work the same way. So, the snowball effect from a property capital growth point of view. If you see your portfolio at the top of the hill, you build your snowball. If the hill drops down, that represents time. At the end, that snowball's been pushed down. It's a much bigger snowball at the end. Great, makes sense. Your portfolio starts small. Over time, it grows through capital growth and ends up bigger. Now, the whole point of this analogy is that at the beginning, at the top of the hill, when you start your property journey, if you do a bit more work, build your portfolio a bit more, be more efficient, buy BMV, then that builds that portfolio up at the bigger at the start, which means it'll then be bigger at the end. So by buying well, being able to refinance, getting yourself a stronger deal than average means that you're building a bigger snowball at the beginning, and then at the end, it ends up much, much bigger. Hopefully that makes sense. Normally I would draw this out, but it's a simple analogy that just makes you think about your start of your journey and how important it is. So you may not think you're doing a lot. You may get frustrated, I'm only buying one property or only buying 2 properties and I want to buy 10. But actually, it shows how important those first few purchases are if you're planning on building a larger portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another angle to this as well, which is when I think snowball effect, the first thing that I think about is the effect of compounding rents. Not to say that anything that Rob's just said isn't correct or very, very important, because it is probably more important actually. But the thing that always comes to mind for me is the rents. So for example, say that you want to buy a property every year, and you want to buy a property that's worth £80,000. Well, if you were using a 75% mortgage and using cash for the rest, then you'd be needing to save up £20,000 a year, actually more because of various fees and so on, but let's say £20,000 a year to buy that property. Now, that's a big ask. For most people, that's going to be a really, really difficult thing to do. But once you've bought your first property and it's making you a rental profit after all costs of say £4,000 a year, and you just put that in the bank, you don't touch it, then that means that the next year you only need to save £16,000 out of your own money, add in the £4,000 rent, and you're able to buy that property. Once you've bought that, you've then got 8,000 in rent, and you only have to put in 12,000 of your own money. And it compounds like that. And eventually it gets to the point where just by reinvesting the rental income into deposits, that's enough for you to keep on buying. Now, obviously, they are still huge amounts of money, which is why people find other ways such as refinancing, adding value, all kinds of other ways to acquire those properties rather than just saving up cash over and over and over again. But you can still see this snowball effect. Saving up for your first property and your second and your third, it's a real slog. But before long, that rental income gives you a helping hand. And that kicks in just as you're starting to get bumps in value, just as you're able to refinance, and it all starts kicking in. And suddenly things are looking a bit different. And it doesn't take long for that snowball to start building. It
doesn't. I quite like both separately, but actually if you combine those two together, which you can quite easily, it becomes a very powerful snowball. So thank you, Charles. Great question. And I hope that makes sense to everyone. And it's useful. You know what else was useful to Charles, Rob? When he came along to our summit.
Yeah, very kind of Charles to mention that he enjoyed it. Charles came along to our summit in London. We've got another summit in London coming up. We've also got a summit coming up in Manchester, the first ever summit that we've done outside London. We've only got 2 more summits this year. So if you want to come along like Charles did in 2016, spend the day with us talking about these kind of big strategy questions, things like the snowball effect and the ultimate property strategy and all that kind of thing, then you'll be wanting to join us in October in either London or Manchester. And if you would like to do that, there's a really easy way for you to find out more. If you're on your phone right now, just pull it out and text the word summit, followed by a space, and then your email address to 88802. So that's text the word summit, SUMMIT, then a space in your email address to 88802. You'll then get an email straight away with a load of information and a link to go and book for one of those 2 summits. We'd really love to see you there if you'd like to come and join us.
And we hope you do, because as Rob said, last 2 times of the year, one in Manchester, one in London, both in October, and then we go hibernate for the winter. No, we don't really. We've got lots of stuff planned, but these will be the last summits of the year. And next year, we'll be doing even less, and we are looking at putting the prices up. So if you want to get in at the lowest price it'll be for a while and get in this year, then make sure you do. Either text in or go to the website, and we'll hopefully, if there's any places left, because we record this a little in advance, hopefully we'll see you soon. And we will see you soon, on Thursday in fact, because we'll be back with the Property Podcast. And, of course, next Tuesday, we'll be back with another wonderful question from a wonderful listener. So until then, everyone, have fun, keep safe, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.